Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Yes, it's been like 4 months since the last time I posted a video, and I really do apologize for that. Lots of things have been going on, but I am back. I am officially back to bringing opportunities for healthcare professionals to transition to their different careers here in Canada. If you're new here, my name is Temitope Adesoya, but you can call me Temi. And on this channel, we talk about how to transition into different healthcare careers here in Canada. We talk about trending healthcare topics, which is going to be coming up pretty soon over the next couple of months. But if you're new here, join the family, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified as soon as a video drops. So you guys, what is today's video all about? As I'm sure that you've seen from the title of this video, today we are going to be talking about how medical professionals, specifically doctors who have completed their residency program in their home countries, can transition successfully into a medical career here in Canada via a fellowship training program. Okay, there are lots of notions out there saying that if you've done your residency in your home country, you have to come back and do it all over again. I have someone here with us today who is going to be explaining in detail. He has been through the process and is going to be telling us how we went about it, what are the eligibility criteria. I don't even want to go too much into what this video is all about. Just without further ado, just sit back and enjoy this video. So, welcome back, guys. And we have with us today a very special guest. It took me a long time. Dr. Rotimi is a very, very busy man. It took me a really, really long time for us to finally do this recording, and I must appreciate you. I'm so grateful for the time today. So, without further ado, we are just going to jump right into what today's video is all about. But before that, I just want you to introduce yourself to us, what you are currently doing in terms of your career, and then we can go from there.
It's such a pleasure to be here. I thank you for giving me, this opportunity to, speak with you and to the people who listen to you as well.
Yeah.
So my name is Rotimi Komalafe. I am a medical doctor, specialist. I'm a radiologist, currently doing a subspecialty training at the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto, Canada. I guess that's who I am in a nutshell professionally.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Rotimi. So can you give us a bit of a background in terms of your professional experience back home? Dr. Rotimi is from Nigeria. Yes. So your professional journey back home in Nigeria before you transitioned into Canada practice.
Right. Okay. So like every other doctor there is, I attended medical school. I won't, go into details of that, but I went to attend medical school. After that, I did residency training, and then qualified as a radiologist in Nigeria. And then at that point, I told myself, look, what are your options? Okay. I wanted to subspecialize because the way the world is now, you can be a general radiologist, but ultimately people want to see someone who's a specialist, right? So whether you have an eye problem, you don't want to see a general practitioner. You probably want to see an ophthalmologist.
Yeah.
Even if you see a general practitioner as a first step, ultimately you want to see an ophthalmologist, for specialist care. That is true for many things. So that was why after my residency training program in Nigeria, I decided that look, I wanted to subspecialize. I had the opportunity to practice as a general radiologist outside the country, in the Middle East specifically. But I just felt like, look, I needed to get more training. And so that was why that's how I ultimately ended up, coming for subspecialty training in Canada.
Oh,
And that I guess is some of the things we want to talk about here. How,
yes.
the how and the whys and the rest of that. But suffice to say that when I made up my mind to come to Canada, I thought it was impossible. I just
Hmm.
said, look,
True.
it just never works for doctors. But
Yeah.
of course that has been proven to be wrong.
When I started my channel, I have lots of like foreign trained doctors that would say things like, "Oh well, I finished medical school in Nigeria. I finished my residency." I mean, back home in developing countries, when someone finishes their residency training, most likely they are not in their 20s, right? So most people are like, "Okay, I'm already in my 30s. Canada is not an option for me. I cannot use this pathway. I cannot use that pathway." So when I found out that you were able to come into your specialty training here, despite the fact that you've had your residency back home, I was more intrigued in how did you go about that? And are there opportunities for people to also explore those pathways? So basically, that's what we are talking about today. Like, how were you able to find this opportunity? What exactly is this about? And how can other people also tap into that kind of opportunity?
Right. Okay. So again, like I said earlier, when I made up my mind to travel,
Okay.
I said to myself, I listed 5 countries actually, but I
Hmm.
won't list the other countries. I'll just say Canada
Mhm.
was at the top of that list, and I
Okay.
immediately struck it off. I said, I don't think it's possible, based on what people have said, right?
Yeah.
But the summary is that I applied to come here in 2021,
Hmm.
and by 2022, I was already licensed to practice in Ontario. Okay,
Wow.
so it's not even it's not a lengthy thing as it were, you know. But in my own case, and this I think is for your viewers, especially people who
Okay.
have completed residency training, who
Okay.
say, look, because of age, I don't want to go back to do another residency program. I've been a
Exactly.
consultant for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. I don't want to
Hmm.
go back and start all over again. Canada offers a very excellent alternative, and that's
Okay.
because unlike many programs in the UK, for instance, where people go and sort of get into a residency type training,
Okay.
or programs that are training programs that do not necessarily give you an additional qualification. By
Okay.
getting training in Canada, you actually get a certificate. You get a
Hmm.
specialty certificate. That means that you're recognized as a specialist in whatever area you choose to subspecialize in. And that certificate, you can use to practice in many places around the world. When I made up my mind to come, I applied to the hospital I'm in now. I actually applied to 2 hospitals
Okay.
because I visited their website. It looked like I qualified. They said they
Okay.
accepted international medical graduates, and I was like, well, just give it a try. I actually spoke
Okay.
with a doctor who was in Canada at the time, and she said, "Oh no, just don't waste your time," and the rest of that.
Hmm.
But I applied, and I was shortlisted for interview, and I was successful in the interview, and here I am.
So are there, because some people will be like, just like the doctor you spoke to then that said, "Oh, don't worry, that
Right.
you don't bother applying," right?
Mhm.
So these opportunities for this
Right.
specialty training,
Mhm.
are there so many, or it's just really limited in Canada? Like, are
Mhm.
there so many opportunities,
Right.
or you have to do your own research to
Mhm.
find out where those opportunities are?
Right. So let me put this in perspective.
Okay.
I'm at the University of Toronto because my hospital is affiliated with the University of Toronto, right? In the
Okay.
University of Toronto alone, I think there are over 500 fellowship positions, and that's just one
Wow.
institution. I'm still across. In my hospital, we have over 100 fellows, right? So, and the
Wow.
University of Toronto has, several hospitals that are affiliated with it. So, I'm sure there are over 500 fellows. If you put together all the departments, internal medicine, surgery,
Mm-hmm.
radiology, and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
So there are quite a number of opportunities, and that's just University of Toronto, right? There's two.
Mm-hmm.
there's just in Ontario, that is,
Yeah.
there's so many universities. There's universities in Alberta, University of Calgary. All of these universities offer fellowship training. As a matter of fact, I have friends who I've told to apply and who have actually got offered places in University of Calgary, University of Alberta. So
Oh
these
wow.
things exist, Saskatchewan and all these places. So they're not like few and far between. They're actually quite a number of opportunities.
Hmm.
I guess the challenge is a lot of people don't know about them,
Yes.
so with me, in my own case, I also didn't know it existed, until I
Hmm.
found out and then found out, look, and I've been my groomsmen, right?
Yeah.
Out of my groomsmen, two of them are already here, all in
Wow.
1 year, so and that's
Wow.
just by me putting them through, like, look, you guys come, one is in a
Mm-hmm.
surgical specialty, one is in a pediatric specialty.
Oh
So
wow.
that's surgical internal medicine. So those opportunities abound. It's just knowing the right things to do, and hopefully
Mm-hmm.
one can get in.
And I think another question would be, are there specific eligibility criteria for these fellowship positions? Like, are there certain specific eligibility criteria that people must meet or that applicants must meet in
Right.
order to be, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean there are, right,
Okay.
but at the base of it is that anyone who has qualified as a consultant already
Hmm.
qualifies. Okay,
Okay.
that's the base criteria. Okay,
Get
of
it.
course, you want to
Okay.
have a good CV. You want to make sure your CV is competitive. You want to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that you write a good personal statement. You want to make sure that your references, you get good references. I always
Yeah.
tell people, always make sure you have a foreign reference as well.
Hmm.
Because there's a value that is placed. If I got a Canadian reference, for example, someone who is a leader in medical practice in Canada, and he writes a letter on my behalf, it's someone
Hmm.
that they know already, isn't it? So
Mm-hmm.
I always encourage people to have at least one foreign reference. So there are tactics around it, but at the base of it, the BRS minimum requirement is that you are a consultant. Okay, because
Okay.
you're already a general specialist, and then you're now coming for sub specialization. So as
Hmm.
long as you're a consultant, as long as you're a specialist, you definitely qualify for this.
So another question that people ask. Okay, so for example, a consultant from a country, a foreign trained doctor, consultant in his field, applies for this fellowship, gets approved. What is the implication in terms of what I mean is what is the impact on the person's, like, will I say, immigration status? So are
Right.
they coming as a student, or are they allowed to bring their family members? Because that's another discouraging factor. Lots of people tell me, oh, even if I get something like that, I'm not able to bring my husband, I'm not able to bring my wife, I'm not able to bring my kids. So what is the impact of getting a position for this fellowship program on immigration status? Is there anything you can tell us about that?
Right. So when you're offered a fellowship position, first and foremost, you're given a work permit. You're coming on a work permit.
Okay.
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 And then your spouse, it covers your spouse and your kids, right? So your spouse qualifies
Mm,
automatically for an open work permit. Okay,
okay. Oh,
so
wow.
in terms of, I want to come in, what will my wife be doing? If she wants to work, she can get an open work permit. No questions asked. It's basically
Mm-hmm.
based on the fact that you already have a work permit. Yours is not open, yours is a closed work permit. Um,
Yes.
but you have a work
Oh,
permit, and then your spouse and your children, can come in with your work permit.
hmm.
And of course, they're able to stay for the entire length of time
Of
that you
course.
want to stay. I always, in terms of, speaking of, tactics, if you will, I always say
Mm-hmm.
that it's important to apply for a 2-year fellowship for people who
Okay.
are looking to, stay in the system,
Possibly. Yeah.
or want to, sort of, in terms of their status, want to say, I want to become a PR, for instance,
Hmm.
because after 1 year, you can then apply for the Canadian Experience class,
Yes.
uh, and which I have, people who have done that before me, doctors, Nigerian doctors who have done that, and in
Hmm.
a matter of 3 months, they get PR.
Hmm.
So although recently I understand Canada Experience class there's been some delays in that, but people can
Okay.
also apply through, like, provincial nominations and that. So
Yeah,
one of
of
my
course.
Nigerian friends, who is a doctor as well, just told me last week, Ontario, their provincial nomination,
Provincial.
being a doctor, has finished a fellowship here as well. And then they invited the person to become a PR. So
Yeah.
yeah, in terms of that, status wise, you come in as a worker, and then your
Mm-hmm.
spouse can come in on an open work permit, and then of course your children are also covered.
Wow, because I know that that's a major discouraging factor for people why they
Right,
don't want to explore. I think everything still boils down to like lack of information,
right.
where people are not well informed and then they are making decisions. So,
Let me just go back to why it's important to get a fellowship or
okay,
fellowship training
thank
in
you.
Canada.
Yeah.
Okay. And the number one thing is this. First and foremost, you want to get to the zenith of your career.
Hmm.
Okay. Once you do fellowship training, you come out. I'm a pediatric radiologist, right? In training now, or I've
Yeah.
completed 1 year already. But we have people just I think 2 days ago we had someone from Harvard come in, right? A pediatric radiologist from Harvard, Boston Children's Hospital. We're flowing on the same level.
Hmm.
So you're at the highest level. You're training to. I mean, Sick Kids, for instance, is the number one children's hospital in the world. So
Hmm.
that's into the one in Toronto, the one
Yeah.
I'm at. So you're basically getting world class training, so that by the time
Hmm.
you finish from here, you can hold your own anywhere in the world.
Hmm.
And the benefit of a Canadian fellowship is that you finish from Canada and you can get to work in the US, right? Because they actually recognize Canadian fellowships in many places. So a
Wow.
friend of mine, just about 2 months ago, got a job in the US. It was offered a job already in the US.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one alternative. If you want to go to the UK or you want to go to Australia or you want to stay back in Canada, another
Mm-hmm.
Nigerian friend of mine finished from Luth, did a
Yeah.
residency. She's just recently been employed as a consultant at the University of Toronto. So
Wow. After
and she
completing the
also came in for
fellowship.
fellowship training. So you can stay
Wow.
in Canada, you can go to the US, you can go to the UK. So because the training is world class, so that's one
Hmm.
reason why you want to come for a fellowship in the first place.
How I got to know about you was when I knew about the services that you render. Being someone that has gone through this process,
Right.
you know what it entails, you know everything that is involved. So
Mhm.
I know that you offer strategy sessions
Right.
to people that are looking to apply for such programs on
Mhm.
choosing and applying to the
Right.
right program.
Mhm.
So what can you tell us about what you do and the importance
Right.
of people having this kind of service when they are
Right.
applying for something like this?
Um, should you just wake up one morning and apply? I've had people
Mhm.
tell me, "Oh, I applied, but I wasn't taken." Right, and that's where
Mhm.
strategy comes in. Right, so a friend of mine, a senior colleague, actually, recently told me last week or 2 weeks ago that he was successful in his interview, so he's been accepted into the program, a radiologist
Wow.
as well here. And before he applied, we had a strategy session. This is
Hmm.
where you should apply to based on the strength of your CV. Because if you don't
Mm.
apply to your strengths, if you don't play to your strengths, you might not be successful. So I
Hmm.
try to have when I can create the time, that is, I try to have strategy sessions with people. Let's look at your strengths. Let's look at where to basically apply to, and then let's look at how to craft your
The
personal
resume.
statement.
The all
Let's look
statement.
at how to
Okay.
craft your reference letters and the rest of that.
Okay.
So I think that will help, and I've been pretty successful. Like I said, my groomsmen, I'm just bringing all of them here one after the other. So
Imagine.
yeah, I think that I hope I'm doing something right.
You are. You are. Honestly, you are. And people have lots of, will I say, reservations when it comes to relocating. They say, oh no, it's a scam. Oh no, it can't be true. It's a lie. It's a lie. That's not how we went. He knows somebody. I just
Right,
want you to wrap up by giving us like a counsel,
right.
basically, for somebody that will be watching this and is very skeptical and is
Mhm.
like, oh, because I've heard all sorts of things. Like people
Right,
have accused me of giving them false information, despite the fact that I will put the links there for you to go and see. I've been accused of giving false information and all of that. So,
right.
what counsel will you give to someone that is still skeptical, wants to leave their country,
Mhm.
wants to explore
other opportunities in their careers, especially as a medical doctor, a consultant medical doctor in their field, what counsel would you give them? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with, take out all the limitations from your mind, all right? Don't be like me. I thought it wasn't possible. As a matter of fact, I actually applied on the very last day. And that was because my wife said to me, I said, I'm not applying. They're not going to take me. And my wife said, if you apply, do you lose anything? I said, no. She said, then apply. So I applied on the very last day, at maybe 2 hours or so before the thing closed, so it don't have those limitations in your mind. All right. I think that's the starting point. My friend who is here, like I said, he's got into Canada's topmost surgical fellowship program, right, from Nigeria. And it took only one person. So you're saying even Canadians, even Americans, they took someone from Nigeria.
Wow.
So there are no caps, there are no limitations. Just remove limitations from your mind and go for it.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Rotimi. Thank you so much for giving that insightful interview on what the fellowship training program is all about. So if you fall into this category, we already discussed the eligibility criteria. If you fall into this category, then I greatly encourage you to look into this opportunity. Most importantly, I encourage you to try to book a one-on-one strategy session with Dr. Rotimi, because at the end of the day, when you are looking into possibly furthering your career goals, possibly relocating to another country, you need to be very strategic as to what you do. And one of the ways that you can do that is by talking to someone that has been through the process, that can guide you on the application, that can guide you based on the experience that you have and the background that you have, that can guide you on how and where to apply to. Okay, and another important thing that I thought to mention is that Dr. Rotimi also has a YouTube channel called Specialist Pathways. I'm going to drop the link in the description, so make sure that you go through his channel, try to get more information about what these pathways are about. Keep yourself abreast of what is going on. There's a very interesting video that I want to encourage you to watch, because he talks about 5 reasons why international medical specialists should get Canadian fellowship training, and it's straight to the point. He talks about the career continuity, the minimum requirements to even get into the program, the easy application process. Might I drop here that Dr. Rotimi did not have to do any IELTS? Yes, he did not, because I know that's one thing that for some reason scares people. He did not have to do like any special exams. We already talked about what the eligibility criteria is to get into this program. So I'll greatly encourage you to subscribe to his channel, go through his videos. If you are interested in this opportunity as a specialist in your country, then you should look into booking a one-on-one session with him. Dr. Rotimi has gracefully agreed to come back to this channel, to come and I'll come for another interview on this channel where we are going to be talking about going in depth into the reasons why specialists should consider getting Canadian fellowship training. And maybe, just maybe, I haven't discussed this with him yet, maybe we could take a session on like answering the commonly asked questions that we are getting from this video. But that should not prevent you from booking a one-on-one session. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. And if you have any body that fits into this criteria within your circle of influence, don't forget to share this video. Give this video a thumbs up if you found the information, if you found this video informative. Thank you so much. I will not be leaving here without saying a special thank you to every single person that checked up on me during my YouTube break, every single person that still subscribed despite the fact that I wasn't posting any videos. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the encouragement. It really does mean a lot. God bless you abundantly. Until next time, stay informed. Bye.